I'm Silvia Vignolini. I'm a physicist and I work in a chemistry department, and my research interest is mainly material science. Welcome to my expo. Everything that is made in nature needs to have multiple functions at the same time. A leaf, it's important because it captures light to do photosynthesis, but it also needs to transport nutrients back and forth into the main part of the plants. It also serves as it creates shades for what's living under the tree. You have a niche where you perform your function, but you are within an entire ecosystem. And often it's really important to look at things from a much more broader perspective, because when you try to over-optimize for one specific function, you could do worse to your environment. And this is also the way we usually engineer. We engineer in terms of performances instead of looking at a more holistic way on how that material then is going to be used, how that material is going to be working in different contexts, yes? There is an entire field that is called biomimetic, bioengineering, that essentially deals with trying to extract design principles from nature and then apply them to solve technological problems. And maybe the most famous example is Velcro, right? Velcro is a plant and that had a specific type of architecture that is made to stick, and it's a sticking-unsticking reversible mechanism. And that's now we have Velcro that it's used in our everyday materials, that it's functioning on a similar principle. In order to translate biological principle to technology, first you need the knowledge of interesting biological system. So we work with biologists and we discuss about what they are recently researching on, or what are the characteristics that they develop to obtain a specific function in nature. And once we understand, it's also a little bit of a intuition that you can think, oh, maybe the plants use it for this specific application. We could think how to translate it for similar application that we have in our everyday life. There are many challenges that now we are trying to address in our lab. Some of them still have to do with structural color in nature, and we are looking at different species, mainly underwater species. So we look at the color of different mollusks, color of algae, and it's incredible. For example, in the case of algae, also when we think about color change, camouflaging, and the system that are able to dynamically change color, our mind, or at least my mind, goes directly to a squid or to a chameleon. But actually there are plants that also work like that. And this is what we are studying now. And I think it's extremely exciting. It's difficult because it's not easy to cultivate these plants in the lab. So often we have to get them in the field. But it's a really new chapter of extremely exciting work that we are working right now. The other part, it's on the mollusk. They are a completely different system than plants, but somehow we are trying to apply the knowledge that we have learned from optics working with the plant system to a completely different structure and set of material, and also set of problems. And why do we do so? We do so because we believe that, because I particularly like to work also in close contact with biologists, because you can learn a lot. And when you start to study a new system, there is a huge lot of information and fascinating science that you come across, and you it's impossible for me to not get passionate about it. And ultimately, we would like to then define also and develop and invent a new material that can have this same characteristic of these plants of changing color dynamically, adapt and respond to the light. So this is a little bit the direction where we are going also from a more material science point of view. I think that we need to use and manipulate light in our life in many different aspects. And what I like to imagine is that we will be able to develop materials, yes, that can adapt to your will to have a specific optical response. It could be a color, but it could also be to try to keep you warm or keep you cool, starting only from sustainable resources like what you can extract from biomass and plants. When we think about color, we always think about what we can see with our eyes, but the electromagnetic spectrum of the light that is coming from the sun spans beyond what we are able to see. And sometimes also it has to do with what we are able to feel, so in terms of temperature. So the easiest example, you know that if you are wearing a black t-shirt, it will absorb more light. So this absorption of light will transform into a different source of energy, that is heat. In contrast, if you wear a white t-shirt, you are mainly reflecting the light, so less light is absorbed, and then the t-shirt is going to be colder. So the idea is that, you know, when it comes to develop material that manipulates light, it's only not about color, but it can also be about thermal management. And now, because it's in this increasing temperature, being able to control and then keep specific temperature, it becomes really important, and especially if we are able to do it with natural material, it's even more important. I think it's really funny that often we think about nature and us, and we don't think about us being part of nature. I think nature is a fantastic engineer. Not only when you look at the plants, but also you look how we function, how we communicate, our human body, how can we reproduce ourselves, how can you start something from one single cell to give rise to an entire organism. I think this is because it's so part of us living as living organisms, as being part of nature, that we don't realize what we are also capable to do from a biological point of view, yes? So in this context, nature is a great engineer, so are we, yes? Not only in terms of what we can do with our hands and body, but what we are doing in our body while we simply breathe. And I think this is kind of beautiful.